Whoa, I think it happened, right? So that's the challenge when you're going live. So you always have some issues here. So I had some strong connectivity issue, Wi-Fi. So I lost Wi-Fi completely, right? So that's why I lost connection. And but actually what happened is every day you're gonna encounter challenges. And it's all down to you whether you wanna let that lead your life or you want to show that you're stronger than that. In my case, it's a case of showing that we're not going to let that stopping us, right? So we're doing something. Let's finish the job because there's no need for me, no way for know that. I promise you that we're going to cover this topic, and I'm here to finish it, right? So hopefully that's that with you. Again, I want to apologize for those of you who are actually listening, and all of a sudden we got cut. So I talked about the EPC business model and also installer. I talked about the developer and I talked about the consultant. So let's carry on now. So I think because we have another three that we want to cover. So the fourth one, it's the broker. Again, that's a simple one. Remember, for all those categories, what I'm giving you is what is your buyer, how are they making the money, and what do you want to watch out for. So as a broker, so it's very simple, right? I think we all understand what a broker means. So you want to connect one party with the other. Most of the time, a buyer and a seller, and you sit in the middle, right? So you get them together, so they start talking, and when they making the money, you get your cut, you get your commission, right? So this is very simple, and that's how broker work, and it also works the same in here. So you get your commission. So how much is your commission? It's up to you to decide. Is it going to be a percentage of the whole project value? Is it going to percentage of the development fees? Is it going to compare a percentage of the EPC fees? You need to understand it. Yeah. Sometimes some broker will say, "Hey, I want to have a remuneration, especially if the deal has been financed by some investor. That's going to be over time, right? That's going to be spending over time. That's a nice proposition to make, right? But you find few developer investors who are ready to go into that. Because what actually you saying that you want to have a part of the money that is going to be that this guy going to be recouping over time, right? So they will refuse because if you have not participated as equity into the with equity in the company, is a little bit difficult. Not impossible though, but I'm telling you. So in the case the project I was talking about, I believe that was the initial requirement for the gentleman I was talking to. Obviously, for me, it couldn't work because that's not just the way you work, and people working with not going to do that. So that's what a broker is. So what you want to look out for, definitely as a broker, I think your key things, and like I say, all these jobs apart from installer and APC, I've done all of them, right? So as a broker, you want to protect your position. I would say that for me, it's the probably the weakest position, simply because you don't have the money and you don't have the project. You just sit in the middle. You don't have money, the project, and you're not even the one actually managing the whole thing. What you're doing is putting one party with the other, right? So you want to protect your position, meaning that you want to make sure that you are uh, whoever you're introducing the project to and whoever is going to pay you, you're going to make sure that you lock that relationship, right? Ideally, you want to have a contract and a strong contract in place, meaning that as soon as you've made the introduction and if the deal goes through, you're going to get compensated for that. Because I tell you, as soon as the buyer is talking to the seller, I think that's done. If you haven't done your thing before, I think it's difficult. So even people that are, let's say, a good face, when money comes around, yeah, believe me, so position change. So at the moment, I have one of my friends, colleague, who's into a job like that. I think they eventually have even signed a contract, but they didn't find themselves in a difficulty because all of a sudden the deal looks like it's going to go through. The investor wants to invest right into the project. It's a large project. And all of a sudden, the person they've introduced another broker. Because sometimes what happens, a broker work with another broker. They've introduced another broker, and all of a sudden, that broker want to do things in their back. So it happens as well on a regular basis. That's what I say be one of the weakest positions. In our case in Africa, we stop being a broker. We decide not to do that anymore because, and also when in that position, so people are not grateful and for the work that you're doing. So you can be working very hard, and the success rate is very, very small, right? Very small, but it's something they want to know. And also the lead time for you to get a commission could be very long, because remember I said that developing a project, right, can go anything between a couple of months, to a few years, even 5 years, sometimes 10 years. And if you just paid on success fee, so that means you won't see anything there. So as a business model here for me is very flimsy. It's a business model, but I don't know how sustainable it is. I don't know how, unless you have so many projects, or maybe your platform connecting people, and you have so many things. Basically, you're playing here with the volume, because of the volume, so you almost assure that on a regular basis you get at least one of those deals go through, and that's it. Because I would say probably the success rate of those things, I say probably for me, I think it's maybe 1%, maybe maximum 2%, if not even less than 1%. Because the thing is that it depends on what market. If you're an emerging market, if you're a mature market, it's not the same thing, because some markets are faster than others. At the moment, if you're sitting in South Africa, you may be smiling, yeah, because the market that's up in a big time. So if you, for example, Burkina Faso, because you know what happened in Burkina Faso, you're sitting tight, because at the moment it's quite uncertain. So this is what I'm saying. So that's a broker. So the other position I want to talk about is the investor, right? I have another two to cover. The investor, again, very simple to understand. You are the guy putting the money on the table, right? You put in the money either as equity or as debt. So if it's debt, it's not really an investor, it's more a funder or lender, but let's group it in the investor, right? So you put in some money, and how are you going to make your money? You get your returns. You put in your money, you want to make it 2x, 3x, 10x. It depends what it is, right? So that's what that's what it is. As an investor, if you want to come into the sector, again, that would work for the solar, for the wind, for the biomass, for the geothermal, any project. And by the way, this is not even only in renewables energy. You find it in other sector, right? Simple to understand. The investor, that's how he makes he or she makes money. What do you want to watch out for? So you definitely want to make sure that you connect with the right project. Very important. That means you need to have some knowledge of the market. You need to have some knowledge of the environment you're tapping into. You want to have a good understanding what is the team I'm backing, because most of those projects, it's about the execution. It could be, the project could be excellent, the location excellent, but the execution, do you have the right people in place, right? And also, how do you source your projects? Are you making sure that, because as an investor, don't hesitate to invest and to spend money to make sure that you minimize the risk. That's the thing. And you know that as an investor, is about as much as possible minimize the risk. I was talking about a friend of mine who's actually working for great company that is helping you to come up with risk profile for different countries, different sectors. So I think we're going to do something together soon. So we're going to be able to share that with you. You'll see. But I'm just giving you some heads up. But yeah, as an investor, minimize the risk. You want to have the right project, the right environment, the right country, the right team, right, and understand how can I make sure that I can minimize those risks and get my return. That's what you get. And also, it depends as well what's your appetite, right? If you want to be very a region that are very risky, not risky at all, it depends, right? So, but that's a model as all people understand, definitely. So you don't need to be an expert in the sector, but you need to have some knowledge. But if you're not an expert, you probably want to work with some consultant that will help you to figure out whether the step, you're making the right move and have the right understanding. Oh, by the way, as well, that's why you have as well Renewables in Africa channel. Like I say, if you go through there are different videos, I'm sure, I promise you, that you'll find informations that are useful for you. And obviously, if you have more, feel free to reach out to us. We're more than happy to talk to you about that, because we've been working in the past as well with some investors. Yeah. So I talked to you about installer and EPC. I talked to you about developer, right? I talked to you about consultant. So I talked to you about broker, right? I talked to you about investor. There's one more that I got left, right? So I'm sure there's many others. There's one I have left, and it's as simple as being a supplier, right? So whether you supply the wind turbine, whether you supply the solar panel, whether you supply a biomass system, you're a supplier. So what is that you do? You simply just manufacture a system that's going to be used by the EPC, the developer. Yeah, that's it. You supply an equipment, a piece of equipment, right? A component. That's what it is. How do you make your money? Very simple. That's the sale of your component, of your system, right? That's actually straightforward. And you understand that. So what is that you need to watch out for? Obviously, clearly you want to make sure that you understand the market, right? And then because for example, if you're doing solar, so there's different type of grade of solar panels. So am I going to have let's say high grade panel, top quality panel in this market, or what, or not? Is it the right market for me, the right fit, the right country, or how well represented I am in the competition is very fierce, right? So same thing, that's probably what you want to watch out for. And obviously, so as a supplier, one of the things that is important, especially in the renewable energy, you probably need to know that a number of those components are coming from Asia. So a lot of them in China, right? So what's going to be the lead time? It's very important because some people will not deal with you simply because your lead time are not sustainable, right? So obviously the shipping costs, they're going to be looking at that. Those are stuff that you need to be watch out for. You may want to have, and it's recommended to have some distributors with whom you're working with in different countries, so that you can very quickly supply people you want to be working with. Yeah. So that's in a nutshell what I could say about that. Again, I want to apologize because we've had this issue, but hey, that's what life is about. So but I'm hoping that you still by the way, thank you for still connecting and coming back. I appreciate that. I know some of you were there. So I'm happy to take a couple of questions if there is any. Otherwise, what I could just say, it's yeah. So pleasure for me to be talking to you. Hopefully you've understood that. Now you're able to properly understand what are the different type of business model. If you come into the sector, what is that you want to do? Does it fit with your objective? Do you understand the key thing? Do you understand how you make money? Yeah. Are you clear and happy about that? And then also understand as well, what is that I need to watch out for? So what if that is clear into your mind? Hey, all I have to say is welcome. The sector is wide open and there's money to be made as long as you know where to step in. Yeah, that's great. So that's all I had to say. I don't see any questions, so I suspect that you are all satisfied. So if there is, just make sure that you can drop some questions. I'll respond along the way. Uh, that's all I have to say for now. So yeah. Oh, and again, sorry for the poor quality of the internet, of the image as well. I know it's not great, but the message was important for me to pass on today, and I hope you did get it. So all that is left for me to say is, may the sun be with you guys. So I'm hoping to be able to see you sometime Sunday, where we're going to be talking about more of these things together. Okay, excellent. I will see you definitely on Sunday.